Of course.
3A basketball. 3A. 3A basketball. Let's hear your top 10 for the people that don't know. We're talking boys basketball here.
Boys basketball. So we got Cascade Christian at number 1. St. Anne Christian, Amity, Westside Christian, Yamhill Carlton, Dayton, De La Salle, Portland Adventist, St. Mary's, and Umatilla. That's our top 10.
Top 10. Okay, let's start. Let's go to the top. I think one of the legendary coaches, not just in 3A, but all across the state.
Yeah.
Talk about Cascade Christian.
A lot of the same characteristics as Marist. Very, very deep, very well coached. Return pretty much their entire core from last year. They lose, I believe it was Sean. They lose him, but you still got Dom Lewis.
Dominic Lewis is a stud.
Yeah, and if he's healthy, he's one of, probably the top 4 players in the state at the 3A level. Probably one of the top 10, 3 and 4A. Just a phenomenal basketball player. And when great coaches have a dude on their roster, you've seen this for years with Coach Ron Hopp over at Dayton. Whenever he has a dude, immediate contender.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they have a game changer, they're just an immediate contender. And Cascade, I think it's fair to say, returns, if not the second most talent in the state. And just considering the run they went on last year, and most of that same unit is still in the school building, or I guess on Zoom classes.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to put them at number 1, and I think it's a fair expectation that they're at least a Friday at Coos Bay team, which would be semis.
Have you heard of Austin Moyer yet?
I have. I've heard he's very tall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. because of COVID, I haven't seen them play, but the incoming freshman stands at supposedly 6'9", or at least 6'8". We'll just take an inch off. Just, you never know. We'll say 6'8" forward. He's coming off of impressive camps, and pairing him up with Dom Lewis. I mean, there's no question they're one of the tops in the state.
There aren't a whole lot of 6'8" dudes at the 3A level, so that, if nothing else, will help him out.
Yeah, him and Jonah Catlin Gable are probably, because Jonah's he's legit 6'9" now for sure. So those two are just towering over people. Okay, St. Christian, because we talked, offline, and I was saying, with SC, they graduated some talent, but I think, probably the best. I think the best player in the state is going to be Josh Baha. If he stays healthy, there's no question he can go. He's a 6'5". He plays the point. He's like a shooting guard. But then I hear why they're number 2. Somebody transferred into something about that. I'm not sure.
Well, okay. That's not necessarily the reason they're number 2. The reason they're number 2 is for the last couple years, St. Anne Christian has dealt with a not just a consistency problem, but a finishing problem, I guess you could say. They get to the state tournament or they get to the playoffs and they just don't necessarily finish, or the last 2 years specifically, they've had to deal with injuries to their best players. The thing, the prevailing thought for most of the offseason was Joe McQuadich was not going to play this upcoming season.
He committed to NAU for football, Northern
Arizona for football. Yes, and in my opinion, he's better than that, but Northern Arizona is a good fit. So he's going to play.
So he is going to play basketball.
He's going to play basketball. He's excited about playing basketball.
Okay.
There is a juice in the program that hasn't been there in a while, and part of it revolves around the new coach. I'd have to go back and look at his name. I can't recollect it off the top of my head.
Hold on. Is there a new coach at St. Anne Christian?
There is a new coach at St. Anne Christian, yes.
That's breaking news to me. I did not know that. See what COVID does? Now you got to find his name. I didn't know who this is. I didn't know we had a new coach at St. Anne Christian. That guy's been there for a long time.
Yes. Give me 2 seconds. I'll
What?
Yeah, I'll have to find it. They were solidly coached beforehand. There's just, sometimes there's just, when you get a new face, there's just new juice. But I mean, going back to last year's San Am Christian team, I mean, Ben Galsron was one of the best shooters in the state.
He's one of the best point guards in the state.
He's one of the best point guards in the state. The new head coach is Tyler Ropp. Tyler Ropp. My understanding is he was the JV coach last year.
Okay.
My understanding.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I mean, if they seem to respond, so I mean, I believe in it. So St. Am Christian, you got to realize with Josh Baher, Joe McQuaddich, and there is depth there. They have a transfer from Crescent Valley who I can't remember his name off the top of my head either.
Yep.
Struggling with names. If there is juice there, St. Am Christian's immediately a contender. Like even last year, they were probably the second favorite until Josh Baher went down. Mm-hmm. And then juice kind of came out of the program. It was like, okay, here we go again. So you have the reinfusion of juice, and I keep saying juice. It's just enthusiasm.
Sure.
And you bring back, you're right, probably the best, if not one of the best players at the 3A level. I don't see why St. Am Christian couldn't be the number 2 or possibly the best team in the state.
Gotcha.
They're certainly in there.
Gotcha. So I was trying to work on mine last night, but I stopped. But here's the first team that came on my list. I like Josh Ward and Amity, and I see you got them pretty high as well. What is it about those guys? I think I look at Josh Ward. He's not 6'9", he's not 6'10", but he's 6'6", and he's proven that he can handle the basketball, shoot it, score inside. And I know they got some pieces together with him, with a couple of juniors that's with him. They're a bunch of seniors now. Talk to me about them.
So we put Amity at number 3, and we picked them to win the Pac West. And that's a projection based off our thinking that they're going to click, chemistry-wise, just on the floor. Last year, Amity, like a lot of teams, had some inconsistency issues, and we wrote about this in our preview for the North Valley. We did Pac West in that. We talked about that in a 2-week stretch, they went from having 2 of their best games at Blanchette against James Moore and a solid Blanchette team for all intents and purposes, well coached, absolutely blowing the doors off of Nissa in the first round. I mean, blowing their doors off. Nissa was a very, very, very good team, and they were out of it by halftime. And then they walk into Coos Bay and just the Coos Bay curse, I guess you could say, but they lose in the first round, and then they're gone after Friday again. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's an on-court chemistry that just didn't feel right last year. If you go back to that 2018 Amity team that made it to the championship against De La Salle, there was a chemistry there that allowed them to get to the state title game. I'm not sure that same chemistry was there last year, purely because there wasn't quite the same communication without talking, I guess you could say. You know, when you have really good chemistry with guys, you can make a cut and they know you're going to make it, and they're going to make the pass perfectly, and you're going to get the easy bucket. There's not, on the court, there were flow issues last year. And so when we made the projection this year, we made the projection that now these guys last year, Josh Ward, Keenan Graham, Isaac Watterson, Logan Grove, George Hatch, who's one of the more underappreciated players in the state, now being seniors and juniors rather than juniors and sophomores, are going to have that same bump they had 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's why we have Amity at 3. And if they do hit their ceiling is at, if not farther than CC's and SC's. If they hit. Mm-hmm. That's why we have them at number 3.
Gotcha. I know they lost to De La Salle in the second game.
Yeah.
And the first game, I can't remember who they lost to.
Cresswell.
Yeah. Cresswell and De La Salle.
Gotcha. Cresswell ran up and down the floor faster than Amity could know what was happening to them.
It didn't turn around. And play another fast team.
Cresswell was probably the fastest team in the state. I know De La Salle likes to push the pace, but Cresswell was something else last year.
They were good. Okay. You got to help me out here.
Okay.
West Side Christian. I've heard it. I don't know if you saw it, but I've been hearing about it. I've been hearing it. I have coaches in that league tell me flat out, West Side Christian is the favorite this year. And Dave Henry, he works his tails off, and I'm hoping for a season just for him because he has been through the grind and he's pushing every day, and he has a team.
Mm-hmm.
You have them at number 4 in the state, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that really quick?
Let me check and make sure they're number 4. Yes, we do have a number 4. I mean, you could start and stop right there. David Henry.
Yeah.
It's been a slow build at Westside.
Mm-hmm.
But even back in early 2017, the 16-17 or 17-18 season, you could see flashes.
Yeah.
I mean, the 17-18, Amity walked in there. I think they were probably the 6th or 7th ranked team in the state. And Westside nearly beat Amity, as I think they were barely a 500 squad. But the way they played, the way they frankly outmaneuvered Amity in a lot of ways, a very talented Amity squad. I think they only lost by like 5 points, and there was an atmosphere in that gym, and there was an atmosphere over on the over on the West Side Christian bench. There was a vibe in that gym that it screamed contender. There just wasn't necessarily all of the pieces there. The framework was there, but the pieces weren't necessarily there. It wasn't quite ready yet. To use a bad term, I think the cake is finally baked. I think Westside is finally ready to boom here. David Henry is one of the most underappreciated, under-recognized coaches in, frankly, any classification in this state. And there has been chatter, you've heard it, for the last probably 6-7 months about them getting a ton of transfers from the schools around them. And they're there, and there are some real dudes. Talking to people in the Lewis and Clark League, I've heard the same thing as you. They are the contenders. They are the team in the Lewis and Clark League that could win the state title this year. And that is saying something, considering you have a team that's been to, I think it's 4 straight title games now. Or no, 4 straight before this last year with De La Salle.
Yeah. Yes. And we're talking state titles, runner up. They won 2 state, runner up. At least 5 league titles in a row.
Yeah. One of the better programs in the state.
Yeah.
Nope. And you have the reigning champions in the Lewis and Clark League with OES. And I've heard the same thing as you. Consistently, it is West Side, West Side, West Side. And so at a certain point, you're inclined to believe it. And we projected them to win the Lewis and Clark League, not going away, but certainly with the number 1 seed in their league, comfortable. And we projected them to be the number 4 team in the state in our rankings right now. And if just hypothetically, Amity doesn't boom, or St. Anne Christian has some problems, or Cascade Christian has some problems, or even none of those happen, Westside Christian could very realistically find themselves in the state title game. They're well coached and they have talent. Those are your 2 components.
Right. I agree. One of my favorite teams. I like the 2 sophomores down in Yamhill Carlton, man. The Robert twins. Oh,
I can just watch YC games and be content with life.
The taller one, I don't want to mess up the names. The taller one has gotten better.
Malachi? Or is Maroney the taller one?
No, Malachi. Malachi has gotten, I mean, he showed some improvements, man. I've been watching the highlights on him and reading about him. I'm happy for that young man. And Maroney's going to be Maroney. They got the coach. You have them at number 5 in the state.
They could win the Pac West if Amity doesn't boom. Or even if Amity does boom, they could win the Pac West. They are, talk about those 2 components again, talent and coaching. They have both. And
they're so young. They're going to be around for a while.
No, they're going to be here for it gives
past COVID.
It gives some vibes of like 2014 De La Salle. It gives some vibes of that, but just quickly, the job Heather Roberts has done at YC is absolutely incredible. If you had seen YC in their last year of 4A basketball, I went down and watched them play Philomath in, I think that would have been spring of 2018, before they dropped down to 3A.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite bad. It was quite bad. I could have listed probably 25 3A teams that might have beat them. And I think they did lose to multiple 3A teams that year, if I am remembering correctly. There was talent on the team. It wasn't a basketball school at the moment. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked into a roster her first year that I don't believe had any returning players from the year's prior varsity roster. And so you're really just walking blind through that first year, just building something out of literally nothing. And then you finally get into last year. I think she won 3 games in that first year. I think she was like 3-19 or something like that.
Yeah, the year before her sons came.
Yeah, and then her sons come in, and the in-house development of the players from the year before reached a certain point where all of a sudden you get into mid-February and they're beating Dayton on Dayton's floor, where the year before they couldn't compete with the worst in the Pac West.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they're beating the best in the Pac West. And it was instant. That's the incredibleness of what Heather Roberts has done at YC. It's been a complete turnaround instantaneously. Frankly, she would have been my pick for Coach of the Year last year, even with what I believe it's Coach Kirk over at OES did, winning the title with, the OES roster from
that's hard. Yeah, that's hard not to give.
That was an incredible tournament with OES.
Yeah. Coach Roberts.
Look at the job Coach Roberts did.
Oh, for sure.
Incredible.
Coach Roberts, Cascade coach. I mean, those two right there, I feel like they're right there. But what Ed did at OES.
Should have gave out 3 different trophies, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
They should have gave out 3 different trophies.
Yeah. No kidding. But what Ed did at OES, I still don't understand how it happened, but I watched it with my own eyes. I was at the games, and I was like, it's happening.
That was our warning sign that 2020 was going to be really weird. When De La Salle lost in the first round.
Salem Academy
every upper seed lost in the first round.
The top seeds. And OES and Cascade took complete advantage of it. And
Dayton went 0-2.
Oh, I know. Speaking of Dayton, let's roll right into it. We might as well keep going. Coach Hop is I feel like, I'm going to say it, in an unfamiliar spot in rankings, being at number 6. They got two studs I like over there. They're seniors and juniors now.
Spink is one of them.
Spink, and I can't think of the other kid's name, but definitely Spink for sure.
Wouldn't be Ashley, would it?
Yes.
Okay.
Spink and Ashley, and then they graduated a couple seniors, not many, but a couple. Talk about Dayton really quick, because honestly, you never can count them out, because you got Hop, and you have some talent.
Well, I would say there's more than some talent. As we talked about in the preview, as long as you have Ron Hop, and as long as you have some returning experience and players that will play defense, it's Dayton. I mean, seriously, that requires no explanation. It's Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, they're going to find themselves in Coos Bay. It's drawn out in the stars. It's going to happen.
Right. I agree. Then you have De La Salle, number 7. They graduated 2-time player of the year, but Ubaday and a couple of those junior kids, they'll be right there in the mix.
Ubaday's a good player.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's a good player.
Kidding. He's a good player. PAA. Thoughts on them? They got Andrew Vaughn. Some people felt like he was the best player coming in next year, but West Side got new players, and they're gonna be tough. What do you think of the Adventist school, Portland Adventist?
Well, you can't count out Charles Wilmot either. You got to remember the best player off the championship winning team is coming back.
I'm talking PA, not OES.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Lewis and Clark League in general. Okay.
Oh, got you. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
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 Andrew Vaughn, you talk about top 10 players in 3A. You're talking about your Dom Lewis's, your Josh Warts, your Keenan Grahams, Ubade Magatha. He's right in there.
Yeah.
So, and then the Lewis and Clark League, it's going to be one heck of a race for Player of the Year. If PAA can pull some wins off of Westside or De La Salle and find themselves at that number 2 spot, or even win the league tournament, and you could win League Player of the Year. He's a really special player. PAA could find themselves back in Coos Bay. That's, I believe we have them at 7. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's a spot where you're right there.
You got them at 8, but yeah, still there.
I mean, I'll say this: we have them at 8 in the rankings, but they could get a top 5 seed in the playoffs just because of how good the Lewis and Clark League is going to be. Although I guess you don't have a whole lot of interleague play that's going to happen, so the RPI and Collie might be a little weird. But
right,
in a normal year, PAA would be in a situation where they could walk into Coos Bay as the number 5 seed, as the number 3 team in their league.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that with Amity, Dayton, and Salem Academy last year as the 2, 3, 4.
Right.
You could find yourself in a situation with Westside Christian, PAA, and De La Salle. And big part of that for PAA is Andrew Vaughn.
Yep, I agree. Not to cut you off by Charles Wilmot. Yeah, he committed to play football, but the kid's stud basketball player of the year. Well, he didn't get player of the year. Side he got it, but still lead his team to a state championship. Got to show him some love. Number 9. This is where it starts getting intriguing for me. St. Mary's. I know Trey graduated. Tell me who they got back that you got him in the top 10. I don't know much, but Trey, just so you know. So
well, it's hard to overlook Trey. And Trey kind of eclipses everything else.
Everything else.
So, but a lot of the supporting cast is returning. Mm-hmm. And talking to people within the league, it sounds, at least, like they have been spending a lot of time during season 1 devoted to basketball. And it sounds like, again, from the people we've talked to, they've gotten bigger, faster, stronger. And that on the defensive end, despite not having their, what is Trey, probably 6'9", super athletic shot blocker, anything in the paint's going to get sent to the second row of bleachers.
Broke the state record in blocks last year.
I don't doubt it. Even without him, they should be able to compete in that league. That's what I'm hearing from other people in that league. So I'm inclined to believe it. And there's a lot of top end talent this year. Mm-hmm. 1 through 6, really 1 through 8, and I'd say farther than that, have chances to win the title. Very, very real chances to win the title. And I'm not saying that St. Mary's, given the right circumstances, I mean, they did win a title in 2016. No one expected them to.
Yep.
Under the right circumstances, they could find themselves right in that position. But because of everything else that's going on in the state, they're kind of hard to project at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think 9, and this was my reasoning in putting them at 9, I think 9 is a pretty safe spot to put them, because if they boom, they could find themselves in that 5 to 6 spot.
Gotcha. Umatilla, since we talked about everybody else, coming out of Eastern Oregon, what do you know much about Umatilla?
Umatilla and Nissa kind of tossed and turned over who to pick to win that league.
Between them and Nissa?
Yeah, Nissa has more returning all league players.
Right. That's kind of like.
Yeah. Honestly, you could go either way with that.
Sure.
There were some other candidates in there. There's been some chatter about Sutherland being pretty good, so you could have put Sutherland at 10 too. But Umatilla last year at the end of the season really came on strong. And it's Umatilla. I mean, if you've been around 3A basketball for more than 2 years, you would know Umatilla is usually a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They have a good program over there. They have a culture over there, frankly. So putting Umatilla at 10 is a pretty safe bet on them. because Umatilla, their down years aren't really down years.
Mm-hmm.
And their good years, they're Coos Bay teams.
They find their way. They find their way to get to the Sweet 16 every year.
Yeah, I mean, there's no team in the state right now. I'll put it this way: there's no team in the state right now that I would put Umatilla against and say there's absolutely no chance they can win this game. That's what you can say about Umatilla most years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wouldn't probably pick them to beat Cascade Christian or St. Anne Christian. I probably wouldn't pick that, but I would count them out.
Gotcha. That's good.
So that's why Umatilla's at 10.
Okay. Is there what teams, if there's one or two teams that was close?
Sutherland. Sutherland was close to 10. There's a considerable amount of chatter about Sutherland right now.
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, Rainier is an unresolved thing.
That's what I was going to mention.
Yeah, Rainier. I mean, it's no secret the Cascade Range, or is it the Coastal Range?
Coastal Range.
Coastal Range League last year was not spectacular, but they had some really solid teams and they had talent. The most talented team was probably Rainier, and they won the title in their league.
Yep.
And they have Kenny Tripp coming back. And the rule is same in football or basketball. If you have a Tripp, you have a chance.
Right. I agree. I agree.
So they, as far as I know, they still have a coaching vacancy. So as soon as that's resolved, you might be able to get a better picture.
Hold on. There's a new coach at Rainier?
That's my understanding, is the position is still open.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was Clatskanie.
Clatskanie had an opening too.
Whoa.
I know they filled that one.
Okay, but Rainier,
I believe, is still unresolved.
I did not. Hey, I'm glad we're talking, man, because I didn't know St. Anne Christian got a new coach. I didn't know Rainier was still open. Wow. Okay.
I believe Clatskanie filled their position with the old head coach from when they went to Coos Bay. I can't remember his name. Oh goodness, I can see his face. I can't remember his name. He had a son on the team. Yeah, it will come to me after.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. Okay. I did not know that. All right. So I'm going to ask you last question, just like we did the 4A. We went through the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now, take out the top 4 teams. Let's make it more interesting.
Oof.
Take out the top 4. Westside, Amity, Cascade Christian, St. Anne Christian. If you had to pick one that could make a run.
Out of the top 4?
You take the top 4 out.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one.
Or 2. I'll give you 2 again.
Okay, give me 2. That makes my life easier. It doesn't make it easy, but oh goodness. Well, it's between the next 3. It's between YC, Dayton, and De La Salle. 3 teams that are incredibly well coached. 3 teams that all have very genuine shots at making hay in Coos Bay, if Coos Bay exists. If I had to pick 2, I would probably go with Dayton. Oh, goodness. I'd probably go with Dayton and YC.
Dayton and YC.
Probably go with Dayton and YC. Dayton because Ron Hop, and there's some depth there. And YC because their trajectory is insane right now. Mm-hmm. And their ceiling, you talk about a team's ceiling and a team's floor. Their ceiling is championship level for the foreseeable future. And if they get good matchups, I don't see any reason why they can't find themselves in the second day at Coos Bay still in the winner's bracket, and possibly, given a good matchup, find themselves in the title game. The only reason I pick those 2 over De La Salle is the departure of George Sadi is huge. It's a huge unknown. Ubade is a good player, and they have players around him. They were good last year. They were solid 1 through 7. But yeah, I got to see it. I hear you.
Here's a scary thing. I feel like De La Salle every year they graduate some guards. Javare Moret 2, Mike and Larry. I feel like every year, the next thing you know, they just show up.
Yeah.
It yeah.
But the constant in that was George Soddy. And so now you pull the pillar out. What happens?
Wait and see. I hear you.
Wait and see.
Looking off, posting up with B-Ball Dreams. Thank you so very much, Mid Major Media. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Yeah.